The standardbred breed is indigenous to the United States, its roots tracing back over 450 years when horses first arrived in America. Evolution of the animal and attempts at improving the breed deemed that the type of horse to prosper would be one of a stout build, with endurance and a steady gait, possessing the ability to travel long distances without tiring the rider. That horse was the Narragansett, whose gait was a natural pace. The Narragansett was known for his ability to travel 60 to 70 miles a day at a brisk clip over rough terrain. In later years, however, as bridle paths gave way to roads, public sentiment swayed toward wheeled transportation, and the need for the harness horse developed. These country roads were also the site of the first informal harness races between neighbors, testing the speed and stamina of their stock. The process of selective breeding began with Messenger, a thoroughbred who arrived in Philadelphia in 1788. The progeny of the stallion was a horse of larger stature than the Narragansett, a brawny individual with superior action and speed. His offspring, both trotters and pacers, were able to carry their speed over long distances. Messenger's descendants reigned over the racetracks of early America, with the likes of Dutchman, Top Gallant, Whalebone, and one very famous lady, the old gray mare, Lady Suffolk. A great-granddaughter of Messenger, she was the first horse to trot below 2 minutes and 30, the time standard which was later used to measure a horse's ability. Any horse meeting that designated standard became known as a standard bred, the name eventually adopted as the title of the breed. Of course, the father of trotting himself, Hambletonian, also belonged to the Messenger line, and in fact, the lineage of all standardbreds trace back to that immortal stallion.
It all started with Hambletonian, the horse. Foaled in 1849 in Sugarloaf, New York, Hambletonian was the son of an ugly, mean-tempered stallion and a crippled butcher wagon mare. He was no black beauty himself. And before he was weaned, he was sold, along with his mother, for $125. The buyer was the mare's caretaker, William Rysdick. Rysdick presently grew rich from Hambletonian, although not because he had gone with a winner. In fact, Hambletonian raced only twice, just to prove he could trot, and his best time for the mile was 2 minutes, 48.5 seconds. At that rate, he would lose to Greenspeed by more than 200 lengths. His talent was in his loins. By the time he died at the age of 27, he had produced 1,331 offspring, many of whom trotted and begat trotters. The trot is a diagonal gait, left front with right rear, then the reverse, that pleases the eye, speaks of a treaty between man and beast, and not incidentally, provides a smooth, even pull for a wagon.
Speedster Greyhound burst onto the scene during the Depression era. Dubbed the Gray Ghost, he set incredible trotting records that stand yet today. Greyhound and trainer-driver Sepp Palin coursed the Red Mile in 1:55 1/4, ironically the same clocking as Dan Patches. Greyhound even set records while racing as a team, trotting to a blazing 1:58 1/4 distinction paired with the great Rosalind.
The Gray Ghost appeared. Greyhound at first seemed to be a victim of the Depression. Castrated as a yearling because the breeding business was bad, he was sold at auction for $900 and made his first start in a race worth $75 to the winner. By the time of the 1935 Hambletonian, however, he had won enough races to be a heavy favorite, and when the newsreels of his easy straight heats victory hit the theaters, he became a celebrity, an irresistible advertisement for his beleaguered but still beautiful sport. Greyhound's mile record of 1:55 1/4 stood for 31 years.
Greyhound, incredibly enough, at the age of 30, 27 years after he won the historic Hambletonian, still king of all he surveys, and still the world champion trotter. His world record for 1 mile has stood since 1938, and he set more than a dozen other world marks as well. Back in 1937, the Italian owners of a horse called Muscle Tone, an American trotter then reigning as champion of all Europe, challenged Greyhound's owner, the late Colonel E.J. Baker, to a series of match races here and in Italy. Colonel Baker accepted, at any distance, any time, for any amount. The Italians came to this country to see Greyhound in action, and this is what they saw. When they did, international harness racing went back to the drawing boards, for the Italians realized no horse alive, in Europe or anywhere else, could match the power and grace and unbelievable speed of Greyhound. As Greyhound's career ended, war began, and the dream of international competition faded temporarily. With the world back to normal in 1952, and with Greyhound safely in pasture, the great old warrior that started it all goes right on with life, unconcerned, possibly in the knowledge that his records and his reign go on unbroken. He is still the monarch of the realm, still the world champion trotter. And he still has memories all his own.
John Dale eases them up to the starting gate, and here they come. The Hambletonian field on its way. They're off and trotting. Captain's boy out very fast. Choir boy on the inside. Flawless driving for that lead on the outside, and Cheer Honey moving right along with him. That is Flawless going to the front. Cheer Honey up on the outside. Captain's boy is third. B.F. Coaltown fourth. Choir boy fifth. Speedy Scott sixth. Glidden Hanover is seventh. Elma eighth round the turn. Star Act is ninth. Careless Hanover 10th. Buff Hanover is 11th. Digsdale 12th. Dorado 13th. And Filter 14th as they fly to that quarter-mile mark. Leading the way, it is Flawless by half a length, and Flawless goes to the quarter-mile mark in 28 seconds. B.F. Coaltown is moving up now as they head to the backstretch. That's Flawless with the lead. Cheer Honey is second, Captain's boy third, and there goes Speedy Scott out of sixth, and B.F. Coaltown moves right along with him. Heading down the long backstretch at DuQuoin, Flawless leads by 2 lengths. Here comes B.F. Coaltown thundering up on the outside. He is second now, and Speedy Scott is moving right along and is third on the outside. As they come to the half-mile mark, that is B.F. Coaltown getting the lead by 3/4 of a length. That's the half in 58 seconds flat. Speedy Scott moves up on the outside to be second now. In third is Flawless along the rail, and Cheer Honey is fourth. Speedy Scott, powering up on the outside, takes the lead to the far turn. It is Speedy Scott leading the way by a length and a half. B.F. Coaltown is second, Flawless third. Cheer Honey fourth. Glidden Hanover is fifth. Captain's boy sixth. Elma 7th as they round the turn, and Choir Boy is 8th. Digsdale 9th, Buff Hanover 10th, Star Act 11th, Careless Hanover 12th, Dorado 13th, and Filter trails the field. Ralph Baldwin has Speedy Scott in front by 2. B.F. Coaltown is second, turning for home, and Flawless is out of third and driving now. But it is Speedy Scott, the one to catch at the head of the stretch. Speedy Scott trotting powerfully. Flawless is driving on the outside. It is Speedy Scott by a length. Flawless is coming on and collars Speedy Scott. It's Flawless on the outside, Speedy Scott on the inside, and a driving finish. Flawless getting up to win the first heat of the Hambletonian by a head. .157 3/5. A new world record for 3-year-old trotters by Flawless, the powerful son of Florican. Owned by the Arden Homestead Stable of Goshen, New York, Flawless chopped almost a full second off Caleb's old world race mark as he beat Speedy Scott by a head. Again, Harry Panol has shown his magic touch with young trotters. Flawless's price of victory is the saliva test. Speedy Scott was also timed in 1:57 3/5 in that first world record heat. And now Flawless and Speedy will be 1-2 at the rail. But anything can happen in a horse race like the Hambletonian, and all 12 of the other entries are coming back for more. Second heat of the Hambletonian. Here they come. They're off and trotting. Star Act, fifth in the first heat, races for the lead from the outside with Flawless out fast on the inside. That is Star Act, Flawless, VF Coletown moving up fast on the outside, and moving right along with him is Choir Boy as they go into the first turn. Star Act has the lead after 1/8 of a mile, Flawless second. Choir Boy between horses trotting very fast up to second now, and VF Coletown on the outside is third as they go to the quarter-mile mark. Going for that lead is Choir Boy. Star Act is on the inside at the quarter in 28 2/5 seconds. It is Choir Boy, Star Act, VF Coletown is third, Flawless fourth, Speedy Scott trotting fifth, Cheer Honey is sixth, Captain's Boy seventh, Elma is eighth, Glidden Hanover ninth, Filder 10th, Dorado 11th, Careless Hanover 12th, Buff Hanover is 13th, and Diggs Dell is 14th as they go down the backstretch. VF Coletown flying now is driving up to challenge Choir Boy for the lead. It is VF Coletown on the move, and Flawless is on the move also. Flawless drives powerfully at the half. They're there in 58 3/5 seconds, and it is Flawless coming on after the lead, taking over from VF Coletown. And here comes Speedy Scott, moving right after Flawless as they swing round the far turn. That is Flawless leading now by 3/4 of a length. Speedy Scott up on the outside. VF Coletown is third. Choir Boy trotting fourth. Star Act is fifth. Cheer Honey sixth. Elma seventh. Glidden Hanover is eighth. Filder ninth. Captain's Boy 10th. Dorado is 11th. Careless Hanover, Buff Hanover, and Diggs Dell. And it's the big two. Flawless on the inside. Speedy Scott on the outside. Matching strides, head and head, neck and neck, nose and nose, turning into that stretch. Speedy Scott on the outside, Flawless on the inside. Harness Racing's two greatest 3-year-olds battling it out in the second heat of the Hambletonian. Speedy Scott on the outside forges up now to lead by a head. Flawless under a heavy drive on the inside. And Speedy Scott is growing out in the second heat. It's Speedy Scott by 3/4 of a length over Flawless. Speedy Scott and Ralph Baldwin, not to be denied by even the world record-breaking Flawless that time. The property of Castleton Farm, Speedy Scott, a son of Speedster, is a really colorful character who trots most of the time with his tongue dangling out the side of his mouth. And now, while the Hambletonian battlers relax for a while, the world's fastest trotting stallion, Matastar, sets out to beat the DuQuoin track record of 1:57 1/5 seconds. And Harry Panol is in for still another fast ride. Matastar hits the 3/4 in the incredible time of 1:25, and another track record is gone. Matastar in 1:56 2/5 seconds. In behind the gate for the big third heat. Here they come. They're off and trotting. Flawless out fast on the inside. Captain's Boy from the outside. Speedy Scott along the rail, and on the extreme outside, VF Coletown as they head into that first turn. That is Flawless with the lead, but Captain's Boy is right there to challenge. VF Coletown moves up now to be third after the first 1/8 of a mile, and Speedy Scott saves ground along the rail in fourth as they go to the backstretch. Flawless has the lead by a neck. On the outside is Captain's Boy. B.F. Coletown moves up now to be third, and Speedy Scott is fourth past a quarter in 28 3/5 seconds. Florless has the lead. Captain's Boy moves up. Speedy Scott is third. B.F. Coletown out of fourth. Elma fifth on the outside. Buff Hanover sixth. Star Act is seventh. Filter is eighth. Dorado ninth. Glidden Hanover 10th. And Choir Boy is 11th as they race down the backstretch going to the half-mile mark. Captain's Boy has the lead now by half a length. But B.F. Coletown, a front racing factor in all three heats, is up 1 second for the lead at the half in 57 3/5 seconds. B.F. Coletown takes that lead for Carl Larson by a length. Captain's Boy is second. Here comes Florless up on the outside in third, and Speedy Scott is right behind him in fourth. Elma fifth. Buff Hanover is sixth. Glidden Hanover seventh on the outside, moving up. Dorado is eighth. Choir Boy trotting ninth. Filter is 10th. Star Act is 11th, and it's B.F. Coletown in front by a length as Florless makes a determined charge on the outside. Florless moves up now for Harry Pinall to challenge B.F. Coletown for the lead. It is B.F. Coletown turning for home. They were at the three-quarters in 1:27 3/5. B.F. Coletown at the rail. Florless coming on for the lead, and Speedy Scott comes three wide in the stretch drive. Florless now has the lead, but here comes Speedy Scott, and Buff Hanover moves to the inside. It is Florless under a drive as Speedy Scott races up to get the lead. Speedy Scott going out Florless and Buff Hanover, and it's Speedy Scott winning the third heat and the Hambletonian. The mile in 1 minute, 58 2/5 seconds. Speedy Scott and Ralph Baldwin put the finishing touches on the fastest three-heat battle ever waged. The combined total time knocks 4 major world records out of the book. Now winner of the first two legs of Trotting's Triple Crown, the Yonkers Futurity and the Hambletonian, the big bay son of Speedster and Scotch Love, seems destined to go down as one of the great trotting colts of all time. And if Speedy Scott could look ahead, he would also see the Triple Crown, Grand Slam, and the Harness Horse of the Year award in his immediate future. Truly a day when Speedy can stick his tongue out at the rest of the racing world.
In the glamorous, prestigious Hambletonian Stake, 1968 is the year of a super horse, Neville Pride, and he and the Hambletonian have been on a collision course ever since the great colt swept top harness racing honors as a 2-year-old. The day before the Hambletonian, caretaker Andy Murphy analyzes his fleet but exceedingly eccentric trotter.
Well, my opinion of Neville Pride and the 2 years I've been with him, I've come to the conclusion that he's just a big show-off, a big playful colt. He's high-spirited. He has, once occasionally, a little mean streak in him, but most generally he's just playing with you. Once in a while he'd get nippy and kicking, one thing and another, but just a big show-off. As far as eating habits, he's the same as any other horse. He gets no special feed. He's a wonderful eater. That's why he looks so good. Maybe I give him a little bit more than other horses get, I don't know, but he just is a wonderful doer, a wonderful eater. Well, on the racetrack, he is a perfect-mannered colt. I say most of the time. Once in a while, he gets a little idea in his head. He'd like to take a nip out of some other horse or driver on the track, but that's on occasion. He really don't mean it. Winner's Circle is something else. Gets up in front of the cameras, and like I say, being a show-off, he really puts on an act lately.
Harness Racing's colorful bad boy, winner of 37 of 41 starts, has captured the fancy of race fans everywhere.
Well, we're talking about a great horse. There's no question about Neville Pride being a great horse, and of course the Hambletonian's a great race. I've seen a lot of Hambletonians and drove a lot of Hambletonians. I've seen a lot of upsets. But from what I've seen of Neville Pride, as a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, I don't think the other horses can beat him. They might be an upset in this one tomorrow, but then, in my estimation, I think that Emily Pride's one of her great trotters of all time. And if he's all right, I don't think that they'll be able to beat him.
Well, the old saying goes, anything can happen in a horse race. And I always hope that a big race like this, there's no mishaps, and the best horse will eventually win, and usually happens, especially going 2 heats. I think the big race will be really to see who will get in behind and follow Neville Pride, because I imagine he'll be at the front past the quarter pole.
Well, they're going to have a tough job to beat Neville Pride. I believe that the people this year are going to see that one of the greatest trotters that ever lived, Neville Pride, driven by Stanley Dancer. I don't think that there's any horse that can compete with him. Barring all accidents, Neville Pride will win a Hamiltonian in straight heats.
Harness Racing's 9 fastest 3-year-old trotters move in behind the starting gate for the first heat of the Hamiltonian. Here they come. Aroff and trotting Dart Hanover is first away. Neville Pride from the outside, driving hard for the lead, and Snow Speed off stride at the start. Neville Pride from 9th post position roars to the front and opens a quick 3 lengths around the first turn. In second is Dart Hanover. Keystone Spartan is third. Carolyn Sue trotting in 4th, and Master Yankee 5th. Keystone Starlet is 6th. Coleman 7th. Larengo Hanover 8th. And Snow Speed trailing after that early miscue. As they move over to the quarter-mile mark, Stanley Dancer takes Neville Pride to a 4-length lead in 29 1/5 seconds. It's Neville Pride out in front, turning into the backstretch by 3.5 lengths. In second, Dart Hanover, 1.5 lengths. Keystone Spartan third by 3 lengths. Trotting 4th is Carolyn Sue down the backstretch. Master Yankee is 5th. Keystone Starlet 6th. Larengo Hanover begins to move up from 7th. Coleman is 8th, and Snow Speed trails the field. That's Neville Pride, 2.5 lengths in front, moving down the mid-backstretch. In second, Dart Hanover, 1.5 lengths. Keystone Spartan is third. Racing up 4th on the outside at the half-mile mark is Larengo Hanover, and Carolyn Sue is now 5th. Master Yankee 6th. Keystone Starlet is 7th. Around the far turn, Neville Pride 2 lengths in front. Dart Hanover is strong second by 1 3/4 lengths. Keystone Spartan is third, 1 length, and Larengo Hanover is now 4th. In 5th is Carolyn Sue. Coleman 6th on the outside moving up, but it's Neville Pride by 3 now as they move over to the 3/4 mile mark. Neville Pride passed the 3/4 in 1:31 4/5, and he turns for home 4 lengths in front. Neville Pride leads the field in the Hamiltonian first heat into the stretch. Neville Pride by 3. Dart Hanover second. Keystone Spartan coming on. They're in the final 1/8 of a mile, and the leader is Neville Pride by 4. Stanley Dancer looks back. Neville Pride looks forward, draws away by 5 lengths, and wins the first heat of the Hamiltonian by 4 lengths. Eased up for Stan Dancer in 1:59 3/5.
The great Neville Pride, never being pushed and still cruising the mile in 1:59 3/5. And for Stanley Dancer, who has won just about everything in harness racing excepting the Hamiltonian, it's time to relax, just a little. He's halfway home with a colt that looks downright invincible. Neville Pride tolerates a quick bath without trying to eat the sponge, but he does have a few choice words for all blankety-blank photographers who invade his privacy.
The field moves in behind the starting gate for the second heat of the Hamiltonian, with Neville Pride down along the rail and his 8 rivals fanned out next to him. And here they come. Aroff and trotting Neville Pride on the inside takes the lead. Snow Speed out fast, Keystone Spartan, Keystone Starlet, and from the outside, Carolyn Sue. Around that first turn, Neville Pride 2 lengths in front. Keystone Spartan second. Carolyn Sue driving up on the outside from 9th post, now moves into second. Keystone Spartan is third, and Snow Speed is off stride once again. Moving over to the quarter-mile mark, Neville Pride with a 2-length lead. Carolyn Sue second. They're past the quarter in 28 1/5 seconds. Onto the backstretch, Neville Pride leads 1 1/4 lengths. In second, Carolyn Sue by 2 lengths, and in third, Keystone Spartan. Dart Hanover trotting 4th. Larengo Hanover is 5th. Keystone Starlet racing 6th down the backstretch. Master Yankee is 7th. Coleman is trotting 8th, and Snow Speed trails. They're moving to the half-mile mark with Neville Pride out in front by 2.5 lengths. Carolyn Sue is second by 2 lengths. In third, it's Keystone Spartan. Past the half-mile mark in 1 minute flat, Neville Pride, trotting easily, leads the way by 3 lengths. Carolyn Sue is second by 3, and Keystone Spartan third. Dart Hanover fourth, Larengo Hanover is fifth. Keystone Starlet sixth, Master Yankee seventh, Coleman is eighth, and Snowspeed ninth, and Neville Pride pours it on. He's now in front by 4 lengths and widening out without effort. It is Neville Pride leading now by 5.5 lengths around the turn to the 3/4 mile mark. Neville Pride past the 3/4 in 1:30 and 4/5. Here comes Keystone Spartan, moves up now past the tiring Carolyn Sue. It is Neville Pride at the head of the stretch. He's in front by 7 lengths. Keystone Spartan is second. Racing in third is Dart Hanover, and Larengo Hanover is fourth. In the final 1/8 of a mile, Neville Pride is going away. He has opened 7 lengths on the field. Neville Pride coming to the wire, cruising by 5.5 lengths. Keystone Spartan second, Dart Hanover third, Larengo Hanover fourth, Master Yankee fifth, a mile in 1:59 and 2/5.
And Neville Pride's straight heat Hambletonian victory was so devastating that he never saw another horse in front of him at any time on either trip. Far behind him, but still on their way to the bank, were Keystone Spartan and Dart Hanover with second and third money respectively. He was purchased privately for $20,000 as a yearling by the Neville Acres stable, and his Hambletonian victory today pushes his earnings well past the $500,000 mark. When this colt eats cigarettes and caretaker's fingers for breakfast, he's likely establishing a whole new trend in horse nutrition. Winner already of the Yonkers Futurity, Neville Pride will go on from here to win the Kentucky Futurity and thus the Triple Crown of trotting. Only Scott Frost, Speedy Scott, and Ayers have accomplished this in the past. Well, it's a great day for Stanley Dancer, too. This classic has been a real will-o'-the-wisp for him.
Stanley, your first Hambletonian victory, how does it compare with some of the other big ones you've
Oh, this
won?
is the biggest thrill of my life. I win bigger races, but this is the biggest to me.
Comparing, in comparison, how about the horse? How's Neville Pride?
Well, I think he's the greatest horse I ever had. There's any doubt in my mind, and we'll find out a little later on. We'll set him going. But he's a great horse.
Congratulations, Stan.
Thank you.
Neville Pride, rated by many as the very possible successor to Greyhound in the trotting world record books. Today, he did nothing to change their minds.
The pride of Kentucky's Castleton Farm is Hootspeed, a Speedy Scott colt who will be a favorite in this year's 3-year-old trotting headliner. Trained and driven for Castleton by Glenn Garnsey, Hootspeed is fresh from big stakes victories at the state fairs in Illinois and Indiana. He's up and coming. The co-favorite this year is still another Speedy Scott colt, Speedy Crown. Homebred and trained and driven by Ohio's Howard Beisinger, Speedy Crown joins Hootspeed to give the fine stallion Speedy Scott a double-edged sword in the classic. Speedy Scott himself was an all-time Hambletonian star, and here he is, beating Flawless in 1963. Hootspeed has already won the Arden Downs and the Review and Horseman Futurities. Speedy Crown has notched 8 victories in 10 starts, including the American National at Sportsman's. Hootspeed did not hit the headlines until early August along the Grand Circuit. Is he an eccentric colt who demands a lot of patience, or does his speed just develop slowly? We asked Glenn Garnsey.
He's a little of both. He's a little fanatic early in the year. Like the first 3 or 4 starts, you have to be real careful with him. The least little thing will disturb him. I mean, like in New York, a piece of dirt hit him. Made a break, just sitting right in the hole. When he first starts out, he's a little shy of horses and shy of wheels, but I could have probably toned him down more and trained him more, and I eliminated a lot of this, but I didn't want him to reach his peak too soon. So I just kind of went along with him, although he did at times look bad, but I knew that he would get it all together as we went along.
So then, what about Hoot Speed and the on-rushing Hambletonian?
It's always a great race, and it's a hard one to drive. I have personally never raced in it, but I've watched it, and drivers seem to do things different in this race that they don't do in any other race. But I'm just hoping that we have a little luck and we get there first.
Hoot Speed has drawn the number 7 post position for tomorrow. Inside at number 3 is Speedy Crown. We asked Howard Beisinger for a progress report on Speedy Crown. They've been here nearly 2 weeks.
He seems to be feeling good today and jogging good and free and limber. Oh boy, whoa. He's a little racy whenever a horse comes up beside of him. Why, he wants to grab a hold a little and go on, which is good. He's as good a shape as I know how to get him in. I've been trying to be particular about his training and his shoeing and his diet, everything about him. Certainly a good-mannered horse. He isn't afraid of anything.
Well, this colt has always been a good training colt. He warms up good before a race, and he trains good in between races, whereas Lindy's Pride wasn't a particular good training horse, or he didn't warm up too good, but he always raced good. He was a different horse when you got him behind the starting gate and in a field of horses. He was just all business. But training, he was kind of a lazy type of horse. He didn't see much point in going out there and working, I guess. But this colt does anything you ask of him, and he isn't over-anxious, yet he's ambitious enough. And he's always been a good, sound colt, and this is a bigger, stronger type colt. But I just hope he turns out as good as Lindy's Pride.
Well, this is 3 miles. He's just starting to break out, so I'll go 1 more mile and see how he is. I always like to jog the last mile or two a little bit faster than I do the first mile or two.
Fanned out from Top Hanover will be Quick Pride, Speedy Crown, Savoir, Bill Houghton's AC's Orion, Vernon Dancer's Keystone Hilliard, Hoot Speed, Harold Dancer's Lightning Larry, and Angus Allen's Anchor Boy.
Here they come in the first heat of the 1971 Hambletonian Classic for 3-year-olds. Hayrock and trotting, Quick Pride is out fast, so is Speedy Crown, Savoir and Top Hanover down along the rail. That is Quick Pride leading the way around the first turn. Top Hanover is second at the rail. Speedy Crown trotting third on the outside. Savoir is fourth. Hoot Speed on the outside is fifth. Racing in sixth is AC's Orion. Lightning Larry is seventh. Moving in eighth around the turn is Keystone Hilliard. As they go to the quarter-mile mark, Speedy Crown takes the lead. It is Speedy Crown to the front at the quarter in 29 3/5 seconds. 2 lengths back, Quick Pride is second. Up on the outside goes Hoot Speed now to be third. Top Hanover is fourth along the rail. Savoir trotting in fifth. AC's Orion is sixth down the backstretch. Lightning Larry is seventh. Keystone Hilliard is eighth. And Anchor Boy is ninth. Going into the half, Speedy Crown leads, but Hoot Speed goes up now to challenge Speedy Crown for command. That's Hoot Speed on the outside and Speedy Crown at the rail. They reach the half-mile mark in 58 2/5 seconds. The expected battle and the expected speed have developed. Hoot Speed is on the outside, matching strides with Speedy Crown at the rail. Quick Pride is right there in third as they come around the turn. Top Hanover is fourth, and Savoir begins his drive from fifth. They come to the three-quarters. Speedy Crown is out in front by a length. On the outside, Hoot Speed is second. Quick Pride is third. Savoir closing ground in fourth. Here comes AC's Orion up on the extreme outside as the field turns for home in the first heat. Speedy Crown is the leader. Savoir is driving up on the outside, and here comes AC's Orion. On the extreme outside, Keystone Hilliard. Speedy Crown down along the inside. Savoir and AC's Orion are driving through the stretch. It is Speedy Crown showing the way in the first heat of Hambletonian. It is Speedy Crown coming to the wire 3 lengths in 1:57 2.
Speedy Crown and Hamilton, Ohio's Howard Beisinger drawing first blood in this 46th renewal of the Hambletonian Stakes.
Speedy Crown is out fast on the inside. Driving from the outside goes Hoot Speed. Hoot Speed up on the outside. Speedy Crown along the rail. Savoir is third. AC's Orion is fourth around the turn. Quick Pride trotting fifth. In sixth is Keystone Hilliard. Top Hanover is seventh. Anchor Boy is eighth, and Lightning Larry is ninth. Going over to the quarter-mile mark, Hoot Speed driving after that lead. Speedy Crown now second along the rail. They get to the quarter-mile mark and move to the backstretch after a quarter and 29 and 4. Hoot Speed, the leader by a length and a half. Speedy Crown second, Savoir a close third. AC's Orion is fourth, Quick Pride trotting fifth. Top Hanover sixth on the outside, moving up. Keystone Hilliard is seventh, and there goes Speedy Crown out of second and up to challenge Hoot Speed for the lead. Speedy Crown races to the front, approaching the half-mile mark. Hoot Speed is second by 3 lengths. Savoir is third by 2. AC's Orion trotting fourth, and Quick Pride is fifth. They get to the half in 59 and 2/5 seconds. Over to the far turn, Speedy Crown, the leader. His margin for Howard Beisinger is a length and 3/4, and now Savoir drives from third and is coming on. That's Speedy Crown. It is Speedy Crown by a neck. Savoir has joined the chase on the outside now, pressing as they move around the turn. It is Savoir on the outside, Speedy Crown on the inside, and those two matching strides coming to the 3/4. Head and head, neck and neck, into the 3/4 in 1:29 and 2. Savoir on the outside, Speedy Crown on the inside. Here comes AC's Orion up in third. Quick Pride also driving. It is Savoir and Speedy Crown on the extreme outside. AC's Orion and Keystone Hilliard. Speedy Crown and Savoir as they come to the lane. Speedy Crown now drawing away. And it is Speedy Crown winning the Hambletonian. 1:58 and 1/5 for Speedy Crown after his first heat victory in 1:57 and 2.
Speedy Crown giving Howard Beisinger his second Hambletonian victory in 3 years. The $130,000 Hambletonian, another monument to the sensational speed of the Standardbred in 1971. And Speedy was one of the speediest.
To Du Quoin and the Hayes Fair Acres last summer came Sirpa Halanen, the Finnish college student, hired by Mail to babysit for the Hayes 4 daughters. Sirpa had never seen a harness horse or race before she got to Du Quoin. But no one stays in Du Quoin very long in that state of deprivation. Sirpa soon was caught up with the beauty and serenity of Hayes Fair Acres, and with the royally bred standard-bred trotters and pacers that make the farm their home. As the big race drew near and the cast for it assembled, Sirpa made new friends. One of them was Johnny Barker, the caretaker who groomed and looked after the Hambletonian favorite, Super Bowl. By Hambletonian Day, Sirpa Halanen not only was no longer a stranger to harness racing, but was now a knowledgeable and enthusiastic fan.
Here they come. They're off and trotting. Delmonica Hanover is out fast with Stars Chip, Super Bowl, and Spartan Hanover on the outside. Around the first turn, Delmonica Hanover on the inside has the lead. Stars Chip right there in second. Super Bowl powering up in third. Down along the rail, the Black Streak is fourth. Spartan Hanover drops in fifth. Flush is sixth, and Axie Star trailing far back. Moving over to the quarter-mile mark, Stars Chip up now for the lead by half a length. Delmonica Hanover is second along the rail. They reach the quarter in 28 and 4/5 seconds. And here comes Super Bowl. Up on the outside, the powerful trotter charging to the front for Stanley Dancer. It is Super Bowl taking the lead onto the backstretch. He now leads his stablemate Stars Chip by a length and a half. 2 lengths back in third, Delmonica Hanover. Another length and a half finds the Black Streak in fourth. Spartan Hanover is fifth, Flush sixth, and far back, Axie Star trails. Going to the half-mile mark, Super Bowl leads the way. He's there by a length and a half, at the half in 59 seconds flat. Super Bowl, the leader, Stars Chip close up in second, and here comes Delmonica Hanover. The filly champion drives from third and is coming on after Super Bowl. It is Super Bowl a length and a half. On the outside, Delmonica Hanover gaining ground. Stars Chip third down along the rail. Spartan Hanover makes his move up on the outside in fourth. The Black Streak is fifth, Flush sixth, and Axie Star. As they come to the three-quarter-mile mark, it's Super Bowl, reaching that station in 1:29, and Delmonica Hanover is right alongside. Super Bowl and Delmonica Hanover. Dancer has not yet gone to the whip. Super Bowl leads the way by a length. Delmonica Hanover second. Up on the outside comes Spartan Hanover. In the stretch and in the final eighth of a mile, Super Bowl is drawing away. It's Super Bowl opening 4 lengths from Delmonica Hanover down to the lane. Super Bowl cruising to the wire. And Super Bowl has won the first heat of the Hambletonian in 1:57 2/5. In behind the starting gate for the second heat of the Hambletonian. And here they come. Hayroff and trotting Super Bowl out fast, Delmonica Hanover and Spartan Hanover on the outside. Stars Chip is fourth, the Black Streak fifth on the inside, Flush is sixth, and Axie Star trailing once again. Around that first turn, Super Bowl in front by a length. Delmonica Hanover close up second. In third, Spartan Hanover. And three of the greatest drivers in the sport, Stan Dancer, Delvin Miller, and Billy Houghton. 1, 2, 3 as they go to the quarter. And Houghton, not waiting, comes out with Spartan Hanover and is driving up the challenge Super Bowl for the lead at the quarter in 29 2/5 seconds. It is Super Bowl 3/4 of a length. Spartan Hanover is second. And Delmonica Hanover moves up along the rail, a closer second, as Super Bowl eases off slightly, going down the backstretch. And Delmonica moves up a very tight second for Del Miller. In third is Spartan Hanover, the Black Streak fourth, and there goes Flush out of fifth and roaring up on the outside. Flush, trotting furiously, is third, now moves to second. They get to the half in 59 seconds, and Flush comes on for Glenn Garnsey, up alongside Super Bowl, but Super Bowl responding to Stan Dancer's urging, widens out again and now leads by a length and a half. Flush drops in second as they come to the three-quarter-mile mark. Delmonica Hanover is third, Spartan Hanover is fourth. The Black Streak is fifth, Stars Chip sixth, and Axie Star far behind. Under the three-quarters comes Super Bowl. Here comes Delmonica Hanover up on the outside again. Three-quarters in 1:28 flat. And it's Super Bowl leading the way as Delmonica Hanover charges up at him. Stanley Dancer waves his whip, and Super Bowl responds. Into the stretch, Super Bowl, trotting strongly, leads the way by 2. Racing in second, Delmonica Hanover. Flush is third, and Super Bowl is drawing away. In the final eighth of a mile, Super Bowl drawing away from Delmonica Hanover and winning the Hambletonian. And it is Super Bowl home in 1:56 2/5, a new Hambletonian and world record.
The fastest mile by a 3-year-old trotter in the long history of harness racing. For trainer-driver Stanley Dancer, and for owners Rachel Dancer and Hilda Silverstein, for excited young fans Sirpa Halanine, and for Super Bowl himself, this is where the road to DuQuoin had been leading. Up the red carpeted path, into one of the most exclusive enclosures in all of sport, the Hambletonian Winner's Circle, Victory Lane in DuQuoin. Super Bowl, King of Trotters, and his happy court. With the victory, Super Bowl moved to within 1 race of trotting's Triple Crown. But blocking the way and casting a slight shadow on the Hambletonian victory was the brilliant colt, Song Can, Super Bowl's chief rival. Not in the Hambletonian, but eligible for the coming Kentucky Futurity, he had beaten Super Bowl 7 times in 17 meetings over 2 seasons of competition. For now, however, it was Super Bowl's moment of glory. He had come to DuQuoin and won in world record time. And for Sirpa Halanine, who had come to this peaceful corner of the world, not knowing that she would be caught up in a dramatic and exciting moment that would live with her forever, Super Bowl's victory was a deeply moving and personal experience. The happy scent of victory is sweet and lasting. But Super Bowl's road went on beyond DuQuoin to Lexington, and so back to the famed Kentucky bluegrass where he was born went Super Bowl to meet his arch rival and clear for once and all his title to the crown. There in head-and-head competition, great horse against great horse, the two superb colts will battle it out over the historic Red Mile, traditional meeting ground of harness racing champions in the Kentucky Futurity, oldest of all American trotting classics, first raced in 1893. Although the purse for this renewal of the historic Futurity was $56,210, only three hardy three-year-olds, Spartan Hanover, Quick Work, and the Black Streak were on hand to challenge Super Bowl and Song Can. In the first heat, Super Bowl takes command early and boldly leads the way. Stanley Dancer has said all along that his colt is clear to the best, and he's out to prove it today. George Schulte, like Dancer, one of the finest drivers in the sport, drops Song Can in behind Super Bowl. On the backstretch, first Quick Work and then Spartan Hanover move up to challenge. But at the half-mile mark, it's Super Bowl comfortably in front. With a quarter of a mile to go, it is still Super Bowl trotting powerfully with Spartan Hanover outside and Song Can still snug in behind, saving ground for Schulte along the rail, waiting to make his move. Then, as Song Can drives from second position in the final eighth of a mile for his stretch charge, trouble strikes. The colt responds eagerly and anxiously to Schulte's guidance, comes out too sharply, and clips the tire on the right wheel of Super Bowl sulky. The tire blows out, and Dancer goes to the whip to urge Super Bowl, now dragging an off-balance sulky, to hold off the fast-closing Song Can, charging up furiously on the outside. It is close, but it's Super Bowl in 2 minutes flat. The Kentucky Futurity, like the Hambletonian, requires the victor to win 2 heats. Super Bowl now stands just 1 mile away from the Triple Crown and complete vindication over his 7-time conqueror and constant tormentor. He trots readily into battle. Super Bowl leaves fast, and Song Can is unable to get to the front. Rather than race parked on the outside, Schulte wrestles the rank Song Can back into second along the rail behind Super Bowl. But Schulte's horse is fired up and fighting mad, and he wants out as the horses enter the backstretch, and Spartan Hanover moves up on the outside. Following Spartan and battling Schulte for his head, Song Can again moves too close to Super Bowl sulky wheel, and for the second time, Dancer said later the odds of it happening twice were 1,000,000 to 1, Song Can clips Dancer's tire. And here's how it looked to the drivers in the race. This time, Dancer is in far more serious trouble. He still has 3/4 of a mile to go with Super Bowl, and his champion will have to trot that distance, pulling the extra drag of 1 flat tire. Dancer has to gamble. Supremely confident, he sends Super Bowl charging to the front once again. Dancer knows he's in trouble. To compensate for the added drag and to prevent the tire from coming off the rim and wrapping around the axle, which will spell certain defeat, Dancer moves as far to the left as he can, scooting over from the sulky seat to the arch of the bike, taking weight off the right wheel and tire. And that is how he finishes the mile, sitting precariously off balance as his champion trots every step of the way without hesitation or miscue. Dancer sweats it out, and Super Bowl trots an amazing mile in 1 minute 59 seconds flat tire and all. This time there is no doubt, and the victory is complete.
And Yankee Bambino is up on the outside, challenging Bonefish for the lead after 3/4 and 1:28 and 2/5. Yankee Bambino shows the way in the Hambletonian first heat. It's Yankee Bambino driving down through the lane. Surefire Hanover is closing on the outside. On the extreme outside, Noble Twist and Song Glory are coming on. Yankee Bambino is under a drive. Surefire Hanover is coming at him. Yankee Bambino on the inside. Surefire Hanover. It's Yankee Bambino. Surefire Hanover. And Noble Rogue in the first heat of the Hambletonian mile in 1 minute 59 seconds. A brilliant first heat after an all-night rain here at DuQuoin.
What a tremendous upset we have. Yankee Bambino, who went off at 35-1, here on the lead with Walter Ross. Stanley Dancer went out and took the lead at about the quarter, but when they hit the 3/4 mark, favored Bonefish simply did not have anything left. And it's interesting that at this moment, Stanley Dancer's son, Ronnie Dancer, decided he'd have to do it for his stable. He brought Surefire Hanover up on the outside, and Surefire starts to make a move. But it is Yankee Bambino, the horse that was bred by King Kong Charlie Keller, the former outfielder for the New York Yankees and named after the legendary Babe Ruth, who has staged one of the biggest upsets in the history of the Hambletonian. As he comes on here to win the first heat, he is 1 heat away from a victory. And there is the tremendous payoff on Yankee Bambino. 75-40 to win, 13 to place, and $8.
As they turn for home, it's Noble Twist on the inside. Yankee Bambino on the outside. Surefire Hanover between horses as they head for home after 3/4 of a mile in 1:28. Yankee Bambino on the outside, Surefire Hanover matching strides with him at the head of the stretch. Noble Twist down along the inside. Noble Rogue comes to the outside now, and so does Meadow Bright. Driving through the lane, Yankee Bambino. Yankee Bambino, Noble Rogue on the outside. Bonefish is coming on. Down through the lane. Noble Rogue gets the lead as they drive for the wire. Bonefish on the outside. Noble Rogue, Yankee Bambino on the inside. Noble Rogue is in front, and here they are. And in a driving cavalry charge, it appears that Noble Rogue has won the second heat of the Hambletonian in 1:59 and 2/5.
Second heat at the Hambletonian. So, as Stan Bergstein pointed out, we will come back and we will have a third heat here. And also, it should be quite a showdown between Surefire Hanover. Bonefish was rushing at the end. He may have wound up in second place.
First quarter trotted in 29 and 2/5 seconds, and driving up on the outside, racing for that lead, Bonefish. It's Bonefish in front. On the outside, Spearmint trotting in second. Down along the rail, Meadow Bright is third. Fashion Blaze trotting fourth. Song Glory is fifth. Yankee Bambino sixth. Noble Twist seventh. Surefire Hanover is eighth. Noble Rogue is ninth as they get to the half-mile mark, and Spearmint now leads the way. But Bonefish on the move again and moves right back to the front. Half a mile trotted in 1:01. Bonefish is the leader over at the far turn. It is Bonefish with the lead. Meadow Bright is out and driving now. The filly moves to the outside from third. Bonefish widens out the lead by 2 lengths. On the outside, Meadow Bright. Down along the rail is Spearmint. Yankee Bambino is on the move now. Moves into fourth as they come to the 3/4 mile mark. Bonefish has the lead. Arriving on the outside comes Yankee Bambino. Down along the rail is Spearmint. 3/4 of a mile in 1:31, and Bonefish is in front by 4 lengths as they turn for home. It's Bonefish, Meadow Bright still hanging on for second. Yankee Bambino trotting up on the outside. Down through the lane, Bonefish leads the way. Bonefish on the outside, Song Glory and Yankee Bambino. Bonefish towering down through the stretch in this third heat. It is Bonefish showing the way in the final 16. Song Glory on the outside. But it is Bonefish in the third heat, and the Hambletonian will go to a fourth heat. The mile in 2 minutes and 3/5 of a second. Bonefish is the winner. Song Glory driving up on the outside in that mile in 2 minutes and 3/5.
So the favorite for this golden anniversary of the Hambletonian took a while, 2 heats, but now he is demonstrating that form and showing you why Stanley Dancer believes that Bonefish is one of the finest he has ever driven, and he has had one world champion after another.
Then trotting him, Noble Rogue on the outside is out fast. Bonefish down long, and Yankee Bambino drops in third. Noble Rogue races up and takes the lead. Bonefish is second, and Yankee Bambino is third. Yankee Bambino, winner of the first heat by 3/4 of a length over Surefire Hanover and Noble Rogue. Noble Rogue, who came back and won the second heat by a head over Bonefish and Meadow Bright, and Bonefish, who won the third heat by a length and a half over Song Flory and Yankee Bambino, and the three survivors now battling as they get to the quarter-mile mark in 29 seconds, and the Noble Rogue is setting a torrid pace for a fourth heat. Right there second is Bonefish, his head on the helmet of Jimmy Arthur as they go down the backstretch, another length and a half back to Yankee Bambino. Two veteran drivers in Jimmy Arthur and Stanley Dancer. 35-year-old Walter Ross in his first Hambletonian, and the horses 1, 2, 3 down the backstretch. Noble Rogue leading. Bonefish is second, and Yankee Bambino is third as they move into the half-mile mark. Noble Rogue leads the way by a length. Bonefish right there second, Yankee Bambino third. They reach the half in 1:02 4/5 and go to the far turn, and no moves as yet as Noble Rogue leads the way, and Bonefish trots second behind him, now a length and a half back. Yankee Bambino another 2 lengths back, and Bonefish is out and driving. Dancer moves out with Bonefish to challenge with more than a quarter of a mile to go. Noble Rogue down along the inside by a neck. Bonefish second on the outside. Yankee Bambino coming on now a length and a half further back. They're moving to the 3/4. Noble Rogue leads the way along the inside by a neck. Bonefish is second, and Yankee Bambino moves to the outside now, and the three horses tied in a struggle. 1:34 for 3/4 of a mile. Bonefish, Yankee Bambino on the outside, Noble Rogue down along the inside. Dancer goes to the whip with Bonefish. On the outside, Yankee Bambino is coming on. Yankee Bambino and Bonefish and Noble Rogue down along the inside. It's Yankee Bambino and Bonefish in a driving fitting. Bonefish on the inside. Yankee Bambino on the outside, driving to the wire. And as they come to the wire, it looks like Bonefish and Yankee Bambino. It looks like a head. It's a photo here in the fourth heat. The mile in the fourth heat, 2:02 4. New world record for 4 heats. It's a close finish between Bonefish and Yankee Bambino.
What a dramatic finish, and we'll pick him up at the head of the stretch. In the middle of your screen, Bonefish with Stanley Dancer, and suddenly over on the left-hand side, Yankee Bambino looms up under a drive by Walter Ross. Ross puts it to him, and he stays with the favored Bonefish. Dancer now working hard on that whip, wanting Bonefish to respond here at the 16th pole. Extremely close as they drive down toward the finish. It looked as though Bonefish might have held off Yankee Bambino, but what a dramatic conclusion here in the 4th and final heat of the golden anniversary of the Hambletonian. And when we come back, we will have the result of the photo finish from DuQuoin, Illinois.
Here it comes.
Bonefish is our winner by that nose. So the favorite under Stanley Dancer comes through and captures the Hambletonian by dramatically winning the 3rd and the 4th heat. There is Stanley Dancer. His stable, of course, owns this great colt. Listed in his wife's name. He had a son who drove in the Hambletonian. What a thrill for him, Woody.
Well, it's a thrill which comes at the end of such a long day. He may not even be able to feel it.
Right now, let's go to Stan Bergstein, who has a special presentation.
With us here in Victory Lane, ladies and gentlemen, is the governor of the state of Illinois, Governor Daniel Walker, who has a presentation to make to Mr. Bill Hayes of the Hambletonian. Governor Walker.
Thank you very much. Match going for a record of 155 at Hamlin, Minnesota. Now he went with a horse in front of him. They call it with the windshield, but he was so far ahead of him you could hardly have done him much good. In 1905, he had paced a mile in October at Lexington in 55 1/4, and he went to beat that record. And went, and, as I say, in this mile here is in 55. Hayden's had a Dan Patch automobile once, and he just did a wonderful job and really loved horses. Unfortunately, Mr. Savage passed away at the age of 57. He passed away just I believe 30 hours after Dan Patch had taken sick and died. And they just got word to Mr. Savage in the hospital that Dan Patch had passed away. And I really believe it was kind of helped. He was pretty sick, and it helped. Well, I didn't say it helped kill him, but I think he kind of lost heart after hearing his great horse died. This is Del Miller talking. This is an old 16 millimeter film I had about Mr. Savage and Dan Patch, and right there you'll see the covered half-mile track they had at Savage, Minnesota. There is the covered half-mile track you see from the inside. Incidentally, Dan Patch died July 11, 1916, and they took an autopsy of him and said his heart, he just had a large heart, an athletic heart. It weighed 9 pounds 2 ounces when it should have weighed about 5. Now here is Murray Anderson, a man I had privileged to know in Orlando, trained with him in the 1950s. He trained for Dr. Lilly, who was one of the great surgeons at Mayo Clinic. He came and spent the winter down there, and Murray brought some of his horses. Murray rode George Gano for a world's record under saddle, and he managed it for him. He went to work about 1910 after Dan Patch had left, but he knew all about Dan Patch and told me a lot of stuff about Dan Patch and the Savages and everything. And I learned to ride trotters and pacer with my grandfather, who used to race them under saddle, and he taught me to ride this way, where in France, in the monitored races, you post more. And I think this is by far the easiest and best. It would be quite interesting to see some racing like that today. And Gibb was trying to train Jack Orr to be a guideless wonder, and he took him up to a track at DeLand, Florida, where they used to have races. Then he also brought him back and tried to train him again at Seminole. That's Gibb on the left there, and you'll see him trying to make a guideless wonder out of him.
Farmers and city folk stormed Goshen's good time track for the classic Hamiltonian. Shrewd, horse-knowing David Harem's look 'em over before invading the betting ring. E.J. Baker's Greyhound is a 1-2 favorite in this Kentucky Derby of harness racing. They're off in the first heat. Man of the Grand Circuit's fastest Trotters step out for the $33,000 purse. In the backstretch, and Greyhound, who got away last, starts moving up, craftily handled by veteran Seth Palin. The streamlined gelding, who cost but $900, overhauls the leaders one by one. His piston-like strides are not lost a race this season. Heat up the ground as he sweeps into the lead. In his quest for the $18,000 first prize, the silver-skinned flyer turns on the steam, and he's winning this heat. Forecasts another in the second. King of the Trotters.
We're at Goshen, New York for the 11th trotting of the Hambletonian Stakes, greatest harness race in the world. 45,000 fans, including Governor Hoffman of New Jersey, are in the stands. The big field scores down, and they're off. Brownie Hanover, from a famous trotting family, goes out to set the pace, and he makes it a hot one. But the popular favorite, Rosalind, is right after him, and with Panero close up, they go into the back stretch. Rosalind lives up to her reputation as the fastest young trotter of the year, and there she is dashing away from her rivals. But Ed Lassiter now makes his move, and the big crowd is thrilled as they come into the home stretch, and Rosalind gamely stands off all challengers. Her driver extends her to the limit, anxious to be the first man to drive two Hambletonian winners, and he is, for Rosalind wins, the fastest Hambletonian ever trotted.
Good. It's Greyhound and Rosalind going for their team record at Indianapolis, Indiana. And it's too bad Gib was taking these pictures and the grandstand shut off the lighting some, but you could still see Greyhound. I know they'd only hooked them once or twice together, and it was really something to see.
At the left. The other's a trotter. One of the most interesting sights for visitors is this: young horses getting accustomed to the Phillips starting gate. Steve Phillips, who's here in person, is the man who built it in 1946. Actually, there are two gates mounted on a car and operated by levers in the car. The starting gate has revolutionized harness racing. It used to be that drivers had to do the lining up themselves, and there were plenty of false starts. Now the horses simply fall in behind the moving barrier, and when they're nose to nose, the barrier pulls away, and the starts are perfect. As the car gathers speed, the gates are swung, the car pulls off the track, and the race is on.
Stream outside, trotting fast. Here comes Pershing, mounting his charge on the outside with Steve Lobel. Peridot Pride down along the inside. Daring Pride between horses. On the outside, coming on is Steve Lobel. He's off stride. It's now Pershing driving with Daring Pride. Zoot Suit is coming on. As they come to the wire, Daring Pride. Zoot Suit is getting up. It is Zoot Suit as they come to the wire. And it's Zoot Suit. The mile in 1 minute 58 and 1/5 seconds, and we have a great classic underway. And here they come in the second heat of the Hambletonian. All 18 three-year-olds back in behind the gate for the richest race in harness racing history, 263,524. Up and trotting, Tropical Storm on the outside. Peridot Pride is off stride. Tropical Storm going after the lead. Daring Pride gets the lead down along the inside. Quick Pace second. Tropical Storm is third. Zoot Suit is fourth down along the inside. Pershing is fifth on the outside. Racing sixth is Seafood Moet. In seventh is Closed Circuit. Vintage Year is eighth on the inside. Racing in ninth is Aladdin Hill on the outside as they go to the quarter-mile mark. Driving goes Quick Pay to get the lead past the quarter in 28 seconds flat. Tropical Storm on the outside is second, racing third, Daring Pride. Tropical Storm thundering up on the outside, challenging for the lead. That's Tropical Storm to the front. Quick Pay second, Daring Pride is third. Racing in fourth is Zoot Suit down along the inside. Pershing is fifth on the outside. Racing in sixth is Seafood Moet. Closed Circuit is seventh. As they go to the half-mile mark, Tropical Storm leads the way by half a length at the half. Daring Pride is second on the outside. Quick Pay is third. Zoot Suit is fourth. Pershing is fifth on the outside. The half-mile trotted in 56 and 4/5 seconds. Blazing time around the upper turn and a battle for that lead. That's Tropical Storm on the inside. Daring Pride parked outside him, racing head-and-head with him. In third, as they come around the turn, is Quick Pay. Zoot Suit is fourth down along the rail and gaining ground. It's Tropical Storm on the inside, Daring Pride on the outside. As they come around the turn, Lola's Express on the extreme outside, trotting fastest of all. Past the three-quarters, Lola's Express on the outside, 127 for three-quarters, and it's Lola's Express thundering up now after the lead. Down along the inside, coming on now is Quick Pay on the outside. Lola's Express and Quick Pay as they drive down through the lane, and Steve Lobel coming down through the lane, leading the way. That's Steve Lobel. Steve Lobel goes out by 3, and it's Steve Lobel, Armbro Regina up on the outside, and Quick Pay in a photo for third with Pershing. the Hambletonian goes to a third heat as Steve Lobel wins in 1:56.2, equaling the record. Now we're going to take a look at slow-mo action, and here they come down through the lane. Billy Horton, whose horse Steve Lobel threw a shoe in the first heat, comes thundering on. Here comes Steve Lobel for Billy Horton, and as you can see, he is trotting easily and powerfully. Horton had trouble in the first heat. The horse threw a shoe after 3/8 of a mile, trotted with one shoe off, and that means balance for a trotter, and that's important. No problem. Quick Pay has opened 3.5 lengths on the field. It is Quick Pay with Pershing second, and here comes Armbro Regina out of third and driving on the outside, and Steve Lobel moves from 6 to the extreme outside as they head into the stretch. Quick Pay is the leader. Armbro Regina, Steve Lobel on the extreme outside. Quick Pay is under a drive by young Peter Horton. Steve Lobel up on the outside. Armbro Regina in the middle of the track as they come down through the lane. Armbro Regina has the lead. Steve Lobel is closing on the outside, and Zoot Suit coming on. It is Armbro Regina showing the way. Zoot Suit coming through. Armbro Regina, Zoot Suit, and Quick Pay here in the third heat of the Hambletonian. Let's take a look at the replay as these great 3-year-olds come to the wire. Joe O'Brien, who this afternoon earlier set a world record with another filly in the Hambletonian filly division, Imalula, storming this time with another filly, Armbro Regina, the only filly in this Hambletonian field. And as you can see, she's powering up O'Brien, giving her all and closing on the outside Steve Lobel. Down on the inside, horses coming on, but Armbro Regina, it appears, holds on to win the third heat of the Hambletonian and thus throw this great race into a fourth heat as it went last year in 4 heats. Here they come in the final heat of the Hambletonian. They're off and trotting, driving out on the inside, Armbro Regina. On the outside, Steve Lobel and Zoot Suit. As the filly goes to the front for Joe O'Brien, dropping in second around the turn, Zoot Suit for Vernon Dancer, and Steve Lobel is third for Bill Horton. Joe O'Brien, Hall of Famer, in his 21st Hambletonian. He's won it twice, in 1960 with Blaze Hanover and 1955 with Scott Frost. He's won $14 million in purses, and he leads right now with the great filly Armbro Regina, whose mother, incidentally, Armbro Flight, was also in a 4-heat Hambletonian here in 1965 for O'Brien and finished second. In second, as they head down the backstretch, is Zoot Suit. Vernon Dancer driving for his brother, Stanley Dancer, who trains this colt. Vernon Dancer himself, a winner of over $8 million in purses, and he has Zoot Suit second. They went to the quarter in 30-3. And Hall of Famer and all-time money winner Bill Horton is third at this point with Steve Lobel. Horton has won over $22 million in purses, and his colt Steve Lobel is third as they go to the half. Armbro Regina holds the lead. O'Brien, a master of pace, showing the way, and she leads by 2 lengths for O'Brien. Armbro Regina at the half-mile mark in 1:02 4/5. Zoot Suit is second, and Steve Lobel is third. And the question is, will the colts be able to outrush the filly in the late stages? It's Armbro Regina maintaining her advantage of a length. Zoot Suit, a very close second, and racing in third, 2 lengths back is Steve Lobel here in the final heat of the Hambletonian. And first to move, Zoot Suit out of second. Armbro Regina leads by a length. Zoot Suit up at her, attacking on the outside. Racing in third is Steve Lobel. And they come to the 3/4. Armbro Regina along the inside. Zoot Suit on the outside, and Steve Lobel now comes to the extreme outside for the drive. 3/4 in 1:34 4. The filly and the 2 colts battling it out. Armbro Regina on the inside. Zoot Suit between horses. Steve Lobel on the outside, and a great final charge here in the Hambletonian. Armbro Regina on the inside. Then Zoot Suit and Steve Lobel on the outside. It's Armbro Regina on the outside. Steve Lobel is getting up. It's Steve Lobel on the outside winning the Hambletonian. Armbro Regina is second. Zoot Suit is third. A mile in 2:02 3/5. Steve Lobel up on the outside for Bill Horton. Let's take a look at the action here. O'Brien had the lead coming down through the lane. He set the pace. He's leading the way, and there you can see O'Brien in action as Armbro Regina tries valiantly to hold off Steve Lobel's charge on the outside. Steve Lobel, however, powering up for Bill Horton, coming on and getting up in the final stride and win the Hambletonian world record time for 4 heats, a mile, 2 minutes, 2 3/5 seconds here at DuQuoin. This as dramatic as last year's bonus? I think it is. It gained cold. He was 14th, then he was first, then he was fourth, and cut a leg in the third heat. He still came back in this fourth heat to win it for the last quarter in 27 4/5 seconds, and that decided the issue.
You're looking at Green Speed. The favorite in today's Hambletonian will be back with Heat 1 in a moment.
Here comes the king, here comes the big number 1. Budweiser beer, the king is second to none. Just say Budweiser, you've said it all. Here comes the king of beer, so lift your glass, let's hear the call. Budweiser beer's the one that's leading the rest. When you say Bud, and Beechwood aging makes it beer at its best. When you say Bud, one taste will tell you so loud and clear. There's only one Budweiser beer. There's only one Budweiser beer. Here comes the king. Here comes the big number one. Budweiser beer, the king is second to none. Just say Budweiser, you've said it all. Here comes the king of beer, so lift your glass, let's hear the call. Budweiser beer's the one that's leading the rest. When you say Bud, and Beechwood aging makes it beer at its best. When you say Bud, one taste will tell you so loud and clear. There's only one Budweiser beer. There's only one Budweiser beer. When you say Bud, there's nothing left you can say. When you say Bud, when you say Bud, the king is right on his way. When you say Bud, the king is coming. Let's hear the call. When you say Bud, you said it all. When you say Bud, you said it all.
All 16 in behind the gate. And here they come in the first heat of the 1977 Hambletonian. They're off and trotting, driving out fast. On the inside is Jodevin after the lead. It's Jodevin, Native Starlight on the outside as they swing around the turn. Down along the inside, that's Noble Darby racing at the rail. Noble Darby and Jodevin battling for the early lead. Moving up third as they head around the turn is Native Starlight in third as they go to the quarter-mile mark. Racing fourth on the inside is Kenwood Hampton. Driving up on the outside now as they get to the quarter-mile mark is Super Spur. Heading past a quarter, 28 3/5 seconds. And Native Starlight takes the lead by a length and a half. It's Native Starlight showing the way. Super Spur trotting up powerfully on the outside in second. Jodevin is third down along the rail as they head down the backstretch. And racing up to be fourth now goes Reprise as they head down to the half-mile mark. Leading the way down along the inside, Native Starlight. Driving now is Texas, and Texas goes to the front as they get to the half-mile mark. Green Speed joins him on the outside. Texas has the lead. Green Speed is second on the outside, 58 2/5 seconds. Around the far turn, Green Speed moves to the front now from his outside post position. Texas is second around the turn. Native Starlight is third. Racing fourth is Kenwood Hampton. Jodevin is fifth down along the rail as they swing around that far turn. Coming to the three-quarter-mile mark, Green Speed has the lead, a length and three-quarters. Texas is right there in second. Native Starlight is third. Kenwood Hampton is fourth. Noble Darby is fifth on the outside. Jodevin is now sixth up the rail. Reprise moving seventh, three-quarters, and 1:27 1/5. Green Speed has the lead as they turn for home. Texas second. Into the stretch, it's Green Speed showing the way down through the lane. Texas trotting second. Racing third is Native Starlight down along the inside. Sloman on the outside. It's Green Speed leading the way in the first heat as Texas comes at him. Green Speed coming on as they come to the wire. It's Green Speed and Texas second, Native Starlight third. First heat of the Hambletonian, a new world record for three-year-old trotters. 1 minute, 55 3/5 seconds as Green Speed wins for Bill Houghton.
And there is the photo finish of Heat 1. Green Speed, the victor by 3/4 of a length over Texas. The third finisher was Native Starlight.
Here they come in the second heat of the Hambletonian. They're off and trotting. Sloman out fast on the outside. Noble Darby's off stride at the start. Native Starlight goes for the lead. Reprise moves fast on the outside. Green Speed holds the rail. Around the first turn, Sloman has the lead. Green Speed is second. Reprise is third on the outside. Texas is trotting fourth. Kenwood Hampton is fifth as they move around the turn. Leading the way now, Reprise up on the outside for the lead. Native Starlight is second after quarter of a mile. Green Speed is third. Texas is fourth. Sloman on the outside as they go to the backstretch. And then comes a scandal sheet. 28 1/5 seconds. On the backstretch, Reprise is the leader. Driving up on the outside, Green Speed goes for the lead. It's Green Speed, winner of the first heat, back in front. Reprise is second. Native Starlight is third. Sloman is fourth. Racing in fifth is Texas. Then comes Scandal Sheet in sixth. Kenwood Hampton seventh. Sugar Bowl Hanover eighth. Gettysburg is ninth. Cold Comfort is 10th. Racing in 11th is Jodevin as they go to the half-mile mark. past the half mile in 57 3/5 seconds. Green Speed, winner of the first heat, maintains his advantage. Reprise is right there, second behind him as they round the turn. Native Starlight is trotting third. Up on the outside, coming on now, Cold Comfort trotting fast as they round the turn. Driving around that turn, leading the way, it's Green Speed as they turn for home. Green Speed has the lead, and up on the outside is stablemate coming on. Cold Comfort has joined him on the outside with quarter of a mile to go. Green Speed on the inside with Bill Houghton. Cold Comfort on the outside with Peter Houghton. 1:27.1 for 3/4. Green Speed on the inside. Cold Comfort on the outside as they drive through the lane. Closing the way, it's Green Speed and Cold Comfort battling it out. Native Starlight and Reprise on the outside. Gettysburg. Texas now joins the fray and coming on as they drive to the wire. It's Green Speed. Green Speed is winning the Hambletonian. Texas is second. Native Starlight is third. Same order of finish and the same time. They have equaled this world record of 1:55.3 again. Green Speed trotting 2 identical miles in world record time. It's a world record for 3-year-old trotters, equals the all-time world mark of Noble Victory, set here 11 years ago as a 4-year-old. And Green Speed is the winner of the 1977 Hambletonian Classic.
As a 2-year-old, he won 10 races and set a world record by trotting a mile in 1 minute, 57 2/5 seconds.
Eight 3-year-old trotters in behind the starting gate for the first heat of the Hambletonian.
But to claim victory in this battle royal, a horse must win 2 heats.
Here they come. Aroff and trotting, moving out fast, Speedy Somali and Count's Pride.
The afternoon was young, the dice still tumbling.
Briscoe Hanover fourth on the outside, driving up. It's Speedy Somali leading away a length and a half. Right there in second is Count's Pride. Briscoe Hanover is third, trotting on the outside. Florida Pro fourth down along the rail with Double Mint racing in fifth. Noble Art is sixth. Brilliant Yankee is seventh as they round the turn, and Way to Gain trails as they go to the quarter-mile mark. Howard Beisinger in front as they reach that point with Speedy Somali in 30 seconds flat. Briscoe Hanover is on the outside, Park second. Racing third is Count's Pride by a length and a half. Florida Pro trotting fourth down the backstretch. Double Mint racing in fifth. Brilliant Yankee is sixth. Noble Art seventh, and Way to Gain trailed. Speedy Somali and Briscoe Hanover. The two of them dueled to world records here last year as 2-year-olds, battling again, but the battle brief as Speedy Somali moves to the front by a length and a quarter. Briscoe is right there in second as they go to the half-mile mark. Up on the outside, Florida Pro as they move past the half to the far turn. Florida Pro mounts his charge on the outside. He is second, and coming on at Speedy Somali. It is Speedy Somali down along the inside. Florida Pro, his conqueror on 4 occasions, moves up to challenge him once again. It's Speedy Somali along the inside, leading by a neck and maintaining command as they come to the 3/4. Florida Pro is second on the outside. Briscoe Hanover third. Moving up fourth now is Double Mint as they get to the 3/4-mile mark. In 1:30, they turn for home. It's Speedy Somali on the inside. Florida Pro on the outside. Double Mint is coming on the extreme outside. Now it's Florida Pro and Speedy Somali battling it out down to the final 1/8 of a mile. Double Mint joins them on the outside. Speedy Somali. Briscoe Hanover moves up now, and on the outside, Florida Pro. It's Speedy Somali on the inside. Briscoe Hanover driving through, but Speedy Somali. And Briscoe Hanover is second, Florida Pro third, and Double Mint fourth as they reach the wire here in the first heat of the Hambletonian with Speedy Somali in front. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hambletonian opens with a world record 1:55 flat. Fastest race mile in the history of harness racing.
An hour later, they mixed it up again, but with a different result.
Over at the far turn, Speedy Somali drives with power and authority to take the lead. Florida Pro follows right with him as second on the outside. Count's Pride is now third, and now Briscoe Hanover is out and driving. He's fourth and coming on, now third. Speedy Somali leads the way half a length. Florida Pro, his arch rival, second on the outside. Briscoe Hanover follows him in third. They come to the 3/4-mile mark. Speedy Somali is still in front by half a length in 1:25 3/5, and they turn for home. Speedy Somali on the inside. Florida Pro and Briscoe Hanover on the outside with Double Mint. Now coming on. Down through the lane they come. Florida Pro drives up. Speedy Somali's at the rail. Briscoe Hanover is on the outside, and Double Mint is fourth. Florida Pro, Speedy Somali on the inside, Briscoe Hanover on the outside. As they come to the wire, Florida Pro and Speedy Somali and Briscoe Hanover. They get to the wire. It's Florida Pro, Speedy Somali and Briscoe Hanover unofficially in 1:55, equaling the world record. And we believe that Florida Pro is the unofficial winner in a photo with Speedy Somali and Briscoe Hanover.
Florida Pro didn't just win. He equaled the world record for the mile. If neither wins, the heat winners come back for a race-off, something the Somali camp would love to avoid.
7 of the world's greatest 3-year-olds now in behind the starting gate for the 3rd heat of the Hambletonian. Aroff and trotting Brilliant Yankee out fast again from the outside going after the lead. Then Speedy Somali and down along the inside Florida Pro. 3 of them across the track. That's Brilliant Yankee on the outside. Speedy Somali between horses. Florida Pro is 3rd. 3 lengths back. Briscoe Hanover is 4th. Another 3 lengths back to Double Mint in 5th. Way to gain is 6th and Noble Art is 7th. To the quarter-mile mark, Brilliant Yankee races up for driver Ben Webster and leads the way by 1.5 lengths. Speedy Somali is 2nd by 2 lengths. Florida Pro is 3rd as they pass the quarter in 29 seconds. On to the backstretch, Brilliant Yankee leads. Speedy Somali is 2nd. Florida Pro trotting 3rd, racing in 4th, and out now goes Briscoe Hanover, driving first to move as they head down the backstretch, going to the half-mile mark. Speedy Somali comes out of 2nd, drives up now on Brilliant Yankee. They move to the half-mile mark. That's Speedy Somali racing up on the outside now to take the lead. Brilliant Yankee is 2nd. Briscoe Hanover is 3rd. Florida Pro 4th on the inside. Double Mint is 5th. Way to gain is 6th, and Noble Art is 7th. Past the half, Speedy Somali there in 59 1/5 seconds as they go to the far turn. That is Speedy Somali leading the way 3/4 of a length. Briscoe Hanover moves up on the outside to challenge him. Brilliant Yankee is 3rd. Here comes Double Mint in 4th. Florida Pro is 5th. Way to gain 6th, and Noble Art is 7th. Speedy Somali still leads the way by 1/2 length. Briscoe Hanover is 2nd as they come to the 3/4 mile mark. Down along the inside, Brilliant Yankee holds 3rd. Double Mint 4th on the outside. Florida Pro out now with 1/4 mile to go. 3/4 in 1:27 4/5. Speedy Somali leads the way, turning for home. Here comes Florida Pro on the extreme outside, moving with Double Mint. It is Speedy Somali, Briscoe Hanover, Florida Pro driving on the outside. Speedy Somali on the inside, Briscoe Hanover, Florida Pro and Double Mint on the outside. Briscoe Hanover is coming on now. It's Speedy Somali. It's Speedy Somali on the inside. Briscoe Hanover and Speedy Somali wins the Hambletonian. It is Speedy Somali, the 3rd mile in 1 minute 57 seconds, and he is the winner of the Hambletonian for 1978.
As the field moves up the backstretch, they went the first quarter in 29 1. Arndon in command by 1 length, but on the outside, Incredible Neville is right there on his flank to prompt the pace as they move to the half-mile mark. Messerschmitt is tucked at the rail in 3rd position. Happy Crown just off the leader's 4th, 57 4 for the half-mile. Jazz Cosmos is moving up now on the outside into 5th position. Self-Confident is now 6th with cover. Bone Meal moves through toward the inside. Go Gator has gone off stride. The rest are far back and out of it as they move around the far turn. And it is Arndon still with the lead. Arndon maintaining the advantage of 3/4 of a length. And Incredible Neville now. Incredible Neville inching up alongside Arndon to challenge for the lead. Jazz Cosmos moves into contention, and Jazz Cosmos will go 3 wide for the final drive. Messerschmitt behind the wall of horses is
at the top of the stretch. Delvin Miller loses his bid for a 2nd Hambletonian win as Arndon goes off stride.
Jazz Cosmos is taking command with an 8 to go. Jazz Cosmos now in front by 2 lengths. And toward the inside, Incredible Neville is racing in 2nd. On the outside, Self-Confident up into 3rd. But they're coming to the finish. And it is Jazz Cosmos.
Jazz Cosmos defeats Incredible Neville by 3 lengths in 1:57 3/5 for his owners, the Sunbird Stables Incorporated of West Palm Beach, Florida.
And they're off. Kingfish is out quickly for the lead. Spirit Supreme is there toward the inside. Mystic Park comes away racing 3rd on the far outside. Roz T. Collins quickly angles to the inside, now taking 4th position. Rosalind's guy is 5th. Little League is parked out in 6th. Nimitz comes away 7th toward the inside. Mr. Kingfish moving up on the outside from 8th. Swallow is now 9th, and Speedball came away 10th. Bone Lover is 11th and last as the field moves by the 1/4 mile mark in 28 1. As the field moves down the backstretch, there goes the favorite Mystic Park on the outside, and Mystic Park, he's now got the lead as they continue up the backstretch. Kingfish is now racing in second. Spirit Supreme is with the leaders, third by 2.5 lengths. Roz T. Collins is fourth by 2. Mr. Kingfish is the first over, moving steadily from fifth. Rosalind's Guy is sixth toward the rail. Little League takes to the outside, now racing seventh. A gap of 3 to Swallow and Nimitz. Speedball is still 10th. It's 6 lengths to the trailer Bone Lover. 57 seconds flat for the half mile, and it was Mystic Park who showed the way. Mystic Park leads the way as they race around the far turn. There goes Mr. Kingfish on the outside. Mr. Kingfish moves into second position, and Kingfish is now third toward the rail by 1.5 lengths. On the outside, Little League moves up from fourth as the field moves to the top of the stretch. Farther back, Spirit Supreme is fifth toward the inside. They hit the 3/4 mark in 1:27.1. On the outside, it's Mr. Kingfish up to challenge Mystic Park for the lead. And Mystic Park goes off stride. Mystic Park has gone off stride. The favorite is off stride. It's Mr. Kingfish with the lead. Here comes Speedball. He came from nowhere, and Speedball quickly accelerates to take the lead. He's got it now by 3. And then it's Roz T. Collins now racing in second. Rosalind's Guy on the outside. Mr. Kingfish and Spirit Supreme. Speedball wins it going away by 5. Final time 1:56.4.
Speedball, parked 8th at the 3/4 pole, rallies to finish first for his owner, the pony stable of Oyster Bay Cove, New York.
And they're off. And it is Jazz Cosmos who is out quickly, and Speedball is also out quickly, saving position at the inside. Jazz Cosmos now goes on to take the short of the lead. Speedball is second at the inside, and on the outside, Incredible Neville is right with the early leaders in third position. And then it's Roz T. Collins now, trotting in the 4th spot. Self-Confident comes away 5th toward the rail with Rosalind's Guy alongside, racing in 6th. Messerschmitt is now racing in 7th, followed by Spirit Supreme. And it's Mr. Kingfish on the outside, 9th. And Bone Meal is 10th and last. 28-3 for the first quarter. It's Jazz Cosmos now who leads the way as they move up the backstretch. Incredible Neville has gone off stride. Incredible Neville has gone off stride and taken off the pace as they continue up the backstretch. And that has left Jazz Cosmos with the lead. And Speedball is now racing in second. Rosalind's Guy moves up to join the leaders on the outside. Third, Roz T. Collins is fourth toward the rail. Messerschmitt fifth with cover. 57-3 as the field moves into the far turn. It's Jazz Cosmos holding on to the lead by 2 lengths. On the outside, Rosalind's Guy powers up into second position. And toward the rail, it's Speedball now racing in third. On the outside, Messerschmitt moves into contention, now racing fourth with cover. Roz T. Collins is now fifth toward the inside. Mr. Kingfish is racing in sixth position, followed by Bone Meal toward the rail. Alongside that one, it's Spirit Supreme, 5 lengths back to Incredible Neville. As the field turns for home, Jazz Cosmos shows the way. Rosalind's Guy alongside, 1:27.4 for 3/4. Speedball is locked at the inside. Here comes Messerschmitt with the challenge for the lead. There's an 8 to go. Jazz Cosmos leads it. And here comes Speedball now. He makes his move in mid-stretch. But Jazz Cosmos is not through yet. Speedball attacks on the outside. One of these will be the winner of the Hambletonian. And it's going to be Speedball. Speedball gets up in the final stride.
Tommy Houghton becomes the youngest driver ever to win the Hambletonian, as Speedball reaches the wire first in 1:57 flat. Earlier in the year, Mystic Park had captured the first leg of the Triple Crown, the Yonkers Trot, for driver and trainer Frank O'Mara. The Trotter had won 11 of 13 starts and was coming off of a 4-race winning streak, including a win in one division of the historic Cup held the previous week at the Meadowlands.
The 3-year-old Colt Trotters also had an outstanding year. One of the early leaders was Mystic Park.
Down the box stretch, 3/8 of a mile of trot up the rail. Mystic Park has the lead. Pressing him on the outside is Christus Crown. As they approach the 3/4 pole with the lead is Mystic Park. From the outside comes Messerschmitt up to challenge for second, with Christus Crown dropping back third. Mystic Park starts to open it up by 3/4 and 1:32 flat. Around that final turn, Mystic Park leads it by 3, with Messerschmitt closing ground second, and on the outside, it's Lucky Winner. They come to the top of the stretch. Mystic Park has been there all the way for Frank O'Mara, has 2.5 on the field as he draws clear to the wire. It's all Mystic Park, the winner of the Dexter Cup Trot.
Arndon was 10 for 13 for his driver and trainer, Delvin Miller. He had put together a 6-race winning streak early in the season and had set a world record of 1:57 2/5 on a 5/8 mile track. However, in his most recent start, a division of the Historic Cup, Arndon made a break and finished 9th.
Lexington.
Arndon officially programmed to beat 1:56 4/5, and that's the record that Arndon earned when he won an elimination heat for the Founders Gold Cup at Vernon Downs on July the 18th. Last year, Arndon had 22 starts, 5 wins, a second and 3/3, earned $53,000, and took a record of 1:57 2 to become the 3rd fastest 2-year-old ever in the sport when he set that race record of 1:57 2, and Arndon with Del Miller trotting by the first quarter in 29 1/5. This year, Arndon started off the year with 7 wins in a row. Arndon scored at Pompano Park, then at Liberty Bell, at the Meadowlands in 59 4, and again at the Meadowlands in 2-1 1. At Vernon Downs in the Hanover Hempsteak, Arndon won by 12 open lengths in 1:58 3, and then went to the Meadowlands and won the Historic Cup in 57 2. Arndon trotting very fast by the half in 56 2/5. Arndon, a very speedy individual, was earned $218,000 this year, is by Arnie Almerhurst, the first foal of the Super Bowl mare Roy Don Gal. And then to Blysom, Roy Don Gal, a half-sister to Rising Wind, time trialed in 2 minutes and a 5th and earned $218,000. And Arndon is trotting a storm. Arndon's by the 3/4 in 1:24 4/5. Del Miller with the son of Arnie Almerhurst taking aim on the world's record. Here comes Arndon trotting to the wire, officially programmed to beat 1:56 4/5. Del Miller and Arndon. Hall of Famer Del Miller with Arndon trotting to the wire. Time of the mile, 54 flat.
Here they come. And they're off, and it's Winky's Gill going right for the early lead. Speedy Anthony D is hustled out from 2nd. Play Action came away 3rd toward the rail. Last Quick is up with the early pace, racing in 4th. Mr. Drew is a close 5th toward the inside. Joie de Vie racing in 6th. Then it's Power Seat now trotting 7th toward the rail. Astro Hill came away racing 8th. Super Spy is now 9th with Speedy Claude 10th on the outside. Brittany Bay is racing 11th. And the early trailer is Coleman Lobel as they move to the quarter. Winky's Gill in front past the quarter in 28 4/5 seconds as Speedy Anthony D pressures the pace from the outside. Play Action just off the leaders, now 3rd by 2 lengths. Last Quick is racing 4th by 2. Mr. Drew racing in 5th. Joie de Vie is 6th on the outside with Power Seat 7th toward the rail. Joie de Vie is followed by Entrimate, Astro Hill. Then it's a gap of 3 lengths back to Speedy Claude. On the inside, Super Spy is now 10th. Brittany Bay is 11th. And far back on a break now, Coleman Lobel is off stride. They're halfway home in 57 1/5 seconds, and it's still Winky's Gill leading the way as the field moves into the far turn. Speedy Anthony D begins to drop back slightly on the outside from 2nd. Play Action is still right there 3rd toward the rail. Mr. Drew is off the rail, right there 4th on the outside. Last Quick is 5th toward the inside, and Joie de Vie now makes his move as they race around the far turn. And Astro Hill also moves it to contention on the outside, followed by Power Seat and Speedy Claude as they race to the top of the stretch. Here's Mr. Drew now right alongside Winky's Gill. Those two are matching strides as they turn for home. 3/4 went at 1:28 flat. They're at the top of the stretch. Winky's Gill fights off the challenge from Mr. Drew. Play Action angles through toward the inside. Here comes Joie de Vie powering up in the middle of the racetrack. It's Joie de Vie taking over from Winky's Gill. Play Action is now 3rd toward the inside. Astro Hill is coming on strongly. And now it's Joie de Vie and Astro Hill. The entry is 1-2 as they come to the wire. Joie de Vie in front, Astro Hill alongside. They come to the wire, and Joie de Vie holds on to win it. Here they come for the 1983 Hambletonian, and they're off. And it's Speedy Claude out fast on the outside. And Duenna comes away fast toward the rail, right there now racing 2nd. And Neville Action joins the early leaders on the outside from 3rd. And Joie de Vie is now 4th toward the inside. TV Yankee came away racing in 5th. On the outside, Last Quick is now in 6th. Winky's Gill is 7th. And Astro Hill is now 8th on the outside. Premium Lobel is trotting in 9th. And Sea Shanty is 10th as they race to the quarter. Duenna now is out after the lead. Duenna in front past the quarter in 29-1. Duenna takes the field down the backstretch now, drawing off by 2.5 lengths. Speedy Claude is racing second by 3/4 of a length. On the outside, Neville Action is now racing in 3rd. Joie de Vie is 4th as they continue up the backstretch. TV Yankee follows in 5th position. Winky's Gill moves through on the inside from 6th. And Last Quick is now racing in 7th. Astro Hill is 8th on the outside. Sea Shanty is 9th toward the rail. And Premium Lobel is the traitor. The quarter went in 29-1. The half goes in 58-2. And it's Duenna leading the way. And there goes Joie de Vie now on the outside. Joie de Vie and Duenna, and these two battle it out as they race around the far turn. And Duenna holds the lead by 1.5 lengths now as Joie de Vie backs off slightly, racing in 2nd. On the outside, TV Yankee now is making a big move as they race around the far turn. And Speedy Claude is now 4th toward the inside. Last Quick takes to the outside 5th. Duenna leads the way as they race past 3/4 in 1:27-3. Joie de Vie drops back slightly toward the inside. On the outside, here comes TV Yankee to challenge for the lead. They're in the stretch. And Duenna, with Stanley Dancer in the bike, leads the way by 2 lengths. Joie de Vie is now 2nd at the inside. TV Yankee is racing in 3rd. Then it's Speedy Claude 4th. Astro Hill is 5th on the outside. And Duenna is all out to hold the lead. A host of others are closing in. Here comes the other filly. Winky's Gill on the outside. They're coming to the wire. And Duenna has won the Hambletonian. Stanley Dancer at the lines. Duenna is the winner.
Here they come. And they're off. Out first is Shannon Majority, and Falcon Sealster moves to the inside. Annihilator away 3rd. Good-natured Fellow from the outside. Then it's What's Next and around the first turn. Shannon Majority now striding out to a 3.5 length lead. Falcon Sealster racing in 2nd. Good-natured Fellow is 3rd. Annihilator is 4th. He's 7 lengths off the lead now. What's Next races in 5th position, followed by Stonebridge Skipper. The opening quarter, 26-2. Amazing first quarter. Shannon Majority was the one that set the pace. And Falcon Sealster is racing in 2nd position. And now O'Donnell puts Annihilator in gear. And he's on the move on the outside. He's up into 3rd, and he's going right on after Shannon Majority, the leader. Annihilator taking charge, a dramatic rush to the lead. Falcon Sealster comes off the rail. The first quarter, 26-2. Here's the half mile, 53 4/5 seconds. He's ahead of Niatros's pace. His half mile was 54-3. And the field moves into the far turn. Annihilator and Bill O'Donnell at the lines. They're in front by 2 lengths. Falcon Sealster is 2nd. The others are far behind. It's almost 10 lengths back to Stonebridge Skipper racing in 3rd. Less than 3/8 of a mile to go. Annihilator looking for the world record. Falcon Sealster in close pursuit. 7 lengths now back to the rest. The 3/4 mark, 1:21 2/5 seconds. The field turns for home. Annihilator with long and powerful strides. And Bill O'Donnell urging him on. They're after the world record. Falcon Sealster is racing in 2nd. They're coming to the final 16th. It's only Annihilator against the clock. Falcon Sealster in pursuit. They're coming to the finish. O'Donnell going to work. Here's Annihilator. Here's the final time. 1:49-3. This is the fastest race mile in history, and just 2 ticks off the time trial record of Niatros. Annihilator, another devastating performance. Here they come. And they're off. Flack bait. He's out fast on the outside. Toward the inside, Practice is there. Anglers line in between horses with Ron B. Hanover. Pigvar caught wide into the turn. And it's Flackbait who goes on now to take the early lead. Flackbait striding out to a 2-length lead. And Practice, the favorite, is racing in second as they move round the first turn. Megatrend is racing in third position. Angler's Line is parked out fourth. Somoli Star and Howard Beisinger, they're fifth at the inside. Ron B. Hanover racing in sixth. And then it's Pigvar and Another Miracle off stride. The first quarter in 28-2. Entering the backstretch, here comes Practice now, and Bill O'Donnell puts him on top. Practice takes the lead from Flackbait. A gap of 4 lengths. Megatrend has settled into third. Somoli Star is fourth. Angler's Line racing in fifth. To the outside goes Pigvar. He's launching his bid from the back of the pack. Ron B. Hanover is next, and far back is Another Miracle. Here's the halfway mark. 57 3/5 seconds. And Practice is in charge by 2 lengths. Flackbait and Ben Webster, they're racing in the pocket. Here comes Stanley Dancer with Pigvar. They're on the move now on the outside, up into third. Megatrend is back and fourth. Ron B. Hanover moves up with cover fifth as they race around the far turn. And Practice is just breezing along. He's got a 2-length lead with less than 3/8 to go. On the outside, it's Pigvar. Toward the inside, it's Flackbait. Then farther back, Megatrend racing in fourth. Ron B. Hanover now will come 3 wide for the stretch drive. 3/4 in 1, 26-4. At the top of the stretch, it's Practice leading the way. And Flackbait right there second. On the outside, Ron B. Hanover is third. They're in the final 8th. And Practice is moving smoothly with a 2.5-length lead as they come to the final 16th. Bill O'Donnell just a tap or two from the whip, and it's going to be Practice. He's going to win this easily. Here they come. And they're off. Flackbait is away quickly, and there goes Pigvar now. He's sent up after the lead from the outside. Mark 6 comes away on the outside, racing in third. Torway at the rail now racing in fourth. Practice is now back in fifth. Workaholic racing in sixth. Then it's Ron B. Hanover, followed by Somoli Star. Master Willie comes away racing in ninth position. And the trailer is nearly perfect as they move to the quarter. John Campbell puts Mark 6 in gear. 28-2 for the first quarter, and Mark 6 now takes charge. Flackbait second, and then it's Pigvar trotting in third position. Torway on the inside is fourth. Here comes Practice now, and he's making his move as they move up the backstretch. They continue up the backstretch. Mark 6 leads the way. Practice third, now second. Practice racing after the lead now. And Flackbait is back in third position. Pigvar is fourth. Torway remains in fifth position. Ron B. Hanover gets underway on the outside. He's followed by Somoli Star. Then toward the rail, it's Workaholic. Master Willie is still racing in ninth position. Nearly perfect is the trailer. The half-mile time, a quick one, 56 4/5 seconds. And Practice is in charge with 3/8 of a mile to go in the second heat of the Hambo. Here comes Ron B. Hanover now, surging second on the outside. And Mark 6 is now back in third. Somoli Star is off the rail, and he's racing in fourth position. On the inside, Flackbait races in fifth. 3/4 in 1, 25-2. And the field turns for home. It's Practice on the rail with the lead by 1.5 lengths. Ron B. Hanover is trying to stay with them, but Practice is turning it on. Practice pouring it on inside the final 8th. Bill O'Donnell goes to the whip. Practice leads by 2.5 lengths. Ron B. Hanover takes to the inside. Flackbait is third. Pigvar is fourth. Coming to the finish. Practice is drifting out, but he's going to win it. Practice is going to win the 1985 Hambletonian, and he has done it in record time, 1:54.3.
Fancy Crown first started to assert her dominance during Hambletonian week at the Meadowlands.
Well, I think the Hamiltonian Oaks really was when she jumped on the scene and really identified herself, going 3 heats to win, and you know, coming on in 57-1 the last heat was really a terrific effort for her.
Fancy Crown now tips to the outside. Selena Lobel is third, and here comes Fancy Crown on the outside. With 1/8 to go now. Fancy Crown has taken the lead. Petroliana. Here comes Selena Lobel making her move with the 1/16 to go. Fancy Crown in front and driving. Selena Lobel. Petroliana is now back to third. They're coming to the wire. Fancy Crown holds on to win it.
In her next start, she made her first impression on the world record table at the mile track in Springfield. where she trotted a mile that no horse has bettered.
Sixth, they're in the lane, and Fancy Crown starts to draw clear. She leads by 5. It's Fancy Crown trotting home by open links for Bill O'Donnell in 1:53 4/5 of a second. That ties Cornstalk's, regardless of sex, that ties is the fastest trotting mile in the history of harness racing, a new world record for trotting mares regardless of age.
Fancy Crown's next world record came on Little Brown Jug Day at Delaware, where she trotted in 1:57 1 to add the half-mile track record to her growing list of accomplishments.
It's Fancy Crown by 10. Here they are, 1:57 1. World record.
They're off and trotting. Mac Lobel quickly out for the lead. Napolitano gets away second. Waikiki Beach third, and everybody's going to duck against the rail. Neville Olympian drops in. Trotters drops in. Also dropping in will be Cotton Hanover, and trailing will be Crown's Best. What a speed against the rail fifth as they swing around the turn. And Mac Lobel heads them toward the quarter. Napolitano is content to wait second. Third on the inside is Waikiki Beach. Fourth along the rail, Neville Olympian. What a speed 5. Trotting 6 as they race to the quarter-mile mark. Trotters. 7 is Cotton Hanover. And trailing that field past the quarter, Crown's Best. They were there in 29.4. And now down the backside, Mac Lobel is going to dictate fractions, and he has set a front panel of 29.4, racing leisurely toward the half. And Napoleon content to wait. He is behind him. Napolitano second. Third on the inside still. Down the backside is Waikiki Beach. Trotting 4, Neville Olympian. 5, What a Speed. 6 down the backside is Trotters, and they're trotting slowly as they race toward the half. And Mac Lobel content to wait for action, and he leads them to the half. Napolitano waits second still. They're at the half. They're at that mark, 1:01 1. And now leisurely into the upper turn, racing with the lead, Mac Lobel. Napolitano second. Third on the inside, still Waikiki Beach. Up on the outside, Cotton Hanover's on the move. Racing next on the inside, Neville Olympian. He's fifth. They're trotting toward 3/4. And Mac Lobel looking for Trotters, and he's not seeing him. He's by himself by 2 lengths. Now Napolitano begins to chase him quicker. They're past the draw gate. They're at the 3/4. Racing third on the inside, Waikiki Beach. Fourth on the outside is Cotton Hanover. And Mac has let him pass 3/4, 1:31 1. We should see a real last quarter. Top of the lane. Here comes Napolitano charging on the outside. On the inside, Mac now under drive. And Campbell has gone to the whip. And Napolitano's alongside him. Those two, they're side by side. It's going to be one of the two. Napolitano is going to win it. Napolitano has won the Kentucky Futurity, 1:57
As you see him in the stretch, Mac Lobel on the inside, Napolitano on the outside. Napolitano has won the Kentucky Futurity, Kurt.
Kenny, just a sensational finish. Napolitano just overpowered the champion in the last few steps. This was a sensational final quarter, 26 2.
Napolitano, the unofficial winner.
Off and trotting, going right up for the lead. Bahama Spur at the rail. Vintage Port in the middle of the track. Peace Corps on the outside third. Racing fourth, Lavina Hanover. Now along the rail fifth, Hilda V. Treading the field, Armbro Hillary as they race down the backside. Going to the first quarter mark. On top of the field, Vintage Port at the lead. Gives way to Peace Corps. Trotting up on the outside to take the lead. Bahama Spur racing third. Opening quarter in 29 seconds. End of the turn. Peace Corps and John Gamble lead the way by 2.5. Vintage Port second. Bahama Spur third. Racing fourth. Lavina Hanover. Fifth on the outside. Hilda V. Treading the field. Armbro Hillary. Down the stretch they come for the first time. Peace Corps and John Gamble by 3. Vintage Port is second. At the half, 57 2. Second quarter in 28 2. Racing to the backside. It's Peace Corps with the lead by 2 1/4. Racing second at the rail. Vintage Port racing third. Bahama Spur as they race down the backside. Going to the 3/4 mark. On top of the field, Peace Corps by 3 lengths. Vintage Port is there second. What's the 3/4 going to be? 1:26 1. 28 4 around the final turn. If you didn't stand up for Falcon Sealster, you better get up now. It's Peace Corps the leader, now by 5. Vintage Port second, Bahama Spur third. Bring her home, Peace Corps and John Campbell. Vintage Port second. It's all Peace Corps by 7. Here they are! 1:56, equaling the world's record regardless of sex.
Forming across North America and in Europe is Mac Lobel, who became the fastest trotter in history in 1987. The stout-hearted Square Gators 152-1 journey has never been equaled in the trotting ranks, and much to the delight of crowds on both sides of the Atlantic, he continues to tour racing ovals, displaying his superior style and attracting new fans.
He leads Starport Ramey by 2.5 lengths. 2 world champions, 1-2 at this point. Third on the inside, Cotton Hanover. And now finding room along the rail, Spotlight Lobel ducks in 4th. They're at the quarter. Trotting 5th, Midnight Sunrise. 6 past that mark onto the backstretch, Newcaster Hanover. 7 is Buckfinder. 8 after a break, Blinding Speed front panel, 27-1. And they're trotting fast as they race down the backstretch. And Mac Lobel not waiting for anyone. He's racing toward the half-mile mark. He leads Starport Ramey by 2.5 lengths. Third on the inside, Cotton Hanover. 4th along the rail, Spotlight Lobel. Trotting 5, Midnight Sunrise. Racing 6, Newcaster Hanover. 7 is Buckfinder. And far back, Blinding Speed half, 54-4. The fractions are right for a world mark, but he will face the wind as they turn for home. They're past the draw gate. Off quarters and 27-1, 27-3. They're now in the 3rd quarter. And Mac Lobel, who already is the 2nd fastest trotter the sport has ever known, second only to Practice, leads by 6 lengths. Starport Ramey 2nd, 3rd Cotton Hanover 4. As they race toward 3 quarters is Spotlight Lobel. 5th at that mark is Buckfinder. 3 quarters, 1:23.1. So a last quarter in 30-1 would tie this trotter as the fastest ever, and this could be it. Mac Lobel in the lane, needing a last quarter only in 30-1 to tie, and he's strong in the stretch. He leads by 7. Mac Lobel trots toward the wire. Mac Lobel, who will attempt to be a Triple Crown winner, opening 12 lengths on the field, and Campbell and Mac Lobel may have the world mark. They're at the timer in 52, 1/5. Unbelievable. Mac Lobel didn't just break the world record, he has lowered it by a 2nd and a 5th.